to educate you guys on everything you need to know about being wired for wellness. So today we are finishing off a 6-part series called The Truth About Trauma. So this has been a long time coming, obviously a month and a half. We've been working away at this and so excited to share with you guys the final piece. So again, as a quick refresher, we spent the first 2 weeks talking about the biological chemical changes that occur in the brain when someone's experienced trauma. And this is everything from little t trauma to big T trauma. So we can all understand that there's certain things in life that are very, very traumatic and very traumatizing. The different types of harassment, assault, abuse, sexual assault, physical assault, verbal assault, abuse, all those things, trauma from war, trauma from that you've witnessed parents or other siblings fighting, you've witnessed gang violence in your community, different things of that nature. All big T trauma, right? That makes a lot of clear sense, but a lot of times little T trauma kind of sneaks in there as well. And these are just situations where we don't feel valued, or we don't feel that we're being heard, that we're receiving the love and compassion that we need to feel that our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions are valued, right? We get that a lot, especially growing up in childhood and even beyond that, and as we start out in the working world as well. And so being aware that all of those things can have a profound impact on the biological, chemical functioning of our brain, of our system, of our body, is so important. So we talked about that in the first 2 sessions of this video, and then we jumped from there into 4 different types of modalities, 4 different types of interventions, 4 different types of treatments that are available. So we talked at first week a top-up approach, the IFS, the internal family systems, and how you could use that to kind of integrate the different parts of yourself. So in IFS, we have the firefighters, the managers, all the different people that protect what in the system is called the exiles, or the part of ourselves that kind of keeps all that vulnerability, all that fear, all that shame, and kind of tucks it away, right? Because a lot of times in our culture, we're taught to be strong, we're taught to be powerful, and to kind of not to express our emotions, not to show weakness or vulnerability, right? So all of those negatives, the fear, the shame, the vulnerability, all of that kind of gets tucked away, and the managers and the firefighters interact with the world on a day-to-day basis in certain behaviors and ways that allow us to operate and function well. So a lot of times people that have experienced that traumatic event are really high functioning individuals, because being busy and being productive is actually a way of kind of ignoring all of your thoughts and feelings, right? Because you have too much to do to actually sit and reflect on what's going inside, what you're feeling, what's physical sensations you experience in your body, right? So IFS, top-up approach, one-on-one talk therapy with a psychologist, or a psychotherapist, or another trained professional. Week 2, we jumped in and talked about yoga. Obviously, yoga can be done in a group class, but the idea is that you're focusing specifically on yourself. So again, this is kind of more of a one-on-one or an individual focus, but this time just focusing on being in tune, being present with where you are right now. The thoughts, the feelings that you're having as you're going through the movements, then also the physical sensations, the stretch in the muscle, the breathing and feeling the air flow in and out of your lungs, and the rising and falling of your chest. All of those things are so important for being grounded, because again, remember, we talked about one of the really important biochemical changes that occur is your inability to dissociate the past from the present. So you experience an event that triggers you, make you think of that traumatic experience from the past, and all of a sudden you feel like you're reliving it, like it never went away, and you're very disconnected from what you're feeling in the present because you're living in the past or reliving that past experience. So being able to ground yourself in the present moment and feel the physical sensations of what you're currently experiencing is so valuable and so powerful. And so yoga was one of a few tools we talked about in that lecture to give you an idea of kind of a bottom-up approach, engaging with your physical body versus the top-down talk therapy. Week 3, we went into a group talk therapy system. So we talked about structured conversations where we had different actual people role play the different individuals that participated in the event. So if you had a traumatic event from childhood where, let's say a mother and father were arguing or fighting or whatever we want to use as the example, that's what we talked about in the presentation. Then we had individuals playing the roles of the individuals from this traumatic event or the traumatic memory, as well as individuals playing those roles in the ideal circumstance of how that would have went. So not only does it give you the opportunity to feel that fear, that shame, that vulnerability that you experienced the first time around, but then it gives you the opportunity to address the issue with the courage and the confidence that you have today, and to get that love and compassion, that acceptance that you were lacking at the time. And that takes us all the way up to today, where we're talking about theater. So as you might have guessed, from our top up and then bottom down individual and then top up group approach, this is going to be a bottom up group therapy approach. And what we're talking about today is rhythm and theater. And while that maybe doesn't sound like it has a place in therapy, especially the trauma therapy, imagine for a second what you actually have to do to participate and be a member of a theater group, right? For one thing, you have to use your body and in a meaningful way and have the emotions that you're trying to convey through your thoughts, through your words, through your body language, be felt by the individuals watching the play. So all of a sudden your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions have value, right? You're being heard because people are literally showing up, in a lot of cases paying to see you perform. So that, I think, is really important, because again, we talked about that first idea of feeling trust, of feeling safe, as being valued, being heard. And so that, I think, is a necessary reflection of theater. And then as well, an individual that's experienced trauma maybe is not as willing to engage in conflict, right? Because then those strong feelings and emotions come up, so easier just to kind of tuck it all away, bottle it all away, and not deal with it. Whereas again, in theater, a lot of times the different plays and different musicals that you can participate in, the focus of the play or the piece is conflict, right? So again, we can welcome that conflict instead of always seeing it as an opportunity to lose control or being afraid of losing control in times of conflict. And so it gives us an opportunity again to ground ourselves with our physical body instead of feeling that dissociation. We're here, we're in the present, we're aware of what movements we're making with our body and what feelings we're trying to convey through facial expressions and through other types of things. And so in a sense, it is pretending, right? It's giving you permission to kind of put aside whatever fears and insecurities you have in your own personal life to take on the role of the individual. But acting, it can be a little bit more than that as well, right? There's a great quote that says, acting is not about putting on a character, but discovering the character within you. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, because if you can't understand or appreciate the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions that the character is experiencing, then how are you ever going to convey that in a meaningful way to the audience? And so a lot of value there as well, of just kind of taking the time to kind of explore and understanding the emotions of the character and maybe perhaps how they relate to you, right? So again, just another opportunity to be present, to explore thoughts, feelings, emotions in a meaningful way. So as being a member of theater, you're being a valued contributor to a group. And so it gives you a strong visceral sense of power, of confidence, of belonging. All of a sudden you have control of, you're a part of this group. There's rhythm and flows. You're engaging and sharing dialogue with other people, and you're connecting with them in a meaningful way. And so all of that comes together to really create a powerful opportunity to experience emotions, to experience movements of the body in a way that I think for a lot of people maybe is a little bit more accessible than talk therapy or different other types of therapy, just because it wouldn't generally be considered therapy by a lot of people. But again, another really valuable piece. I'm going to jump into the book here to quote. So again, all of these talks, all these 6 series have come from The Body Keeps Score. And so that's where we're drawing all the information from. And so a really meaningful quote that I found in the chapter. I'm just going to take a second to find the page here. I was just talking about, there's a quote from one of the directors of one of these theater programs. This one in particular is for youths who have experienced trauma. They're doing Shakespeare plays, actually. And so just talking about how a lot of times individuals who experience trauma or, struggle to make eye contact, they struggle to engage, they struggle to feel safe in a group. And so talking about how theater is actually a really easy way to kind of step people up into participating in a group setting like that. So here's the quote. This is from director Kevin Coleman, director of Shakespeare at the Courts, and quoted by him by Bessel van der Kolk in The Body Keeps Score. So you have to make it safe for them to notice each other. Once their bodies are a little more free, I might use the prop, don't make eye contact with anyone, just look at the floor. Most of them are thinking, great, I'm doing that already. But then I say, okay, now begin to notice people as you walk by them, but don't let them see you looking. Then next, just make eye contact, but just for a second. And then after that, now, no eye contact, no eye contact, eye contact. Now make eye contact and hold it. Nope, too long. You'll know it's too long because you either want to start dating that person or have to fight with them. That's when it's too long. And so it goes on to say that they don't make that kind of extended eye contact in their normal lives, not even with a person they're talking to. They don't know if that person is safe or not. So what you're doing is making it safe for them not to disappear when they make eye contact or when someone looks at them, bit by bit, bit by bit. And so just a really great example of how a simple theater, a simple improv drill can actually help individuals build trust, build meaningful connections, understand the thoughts, feelings, emotions of their body, all through the outlet of theater, which also has these really rich abilities to explore different themes about conflict, which again is something that generally you feel more likely to shy away from after having experienced a traumatic event, because much easier just to kind of ignore thoughts, feelings, emotions instead of leaning into them and engaging with them. So there we go. Long-winded, I think, in some sense, but hopefully it does a good job of painting the picture of where we go, or why theater can be a really valuable opportunity, really valuable experience as a type of therapy for individuals who have experienced a traumatic event. And with that, we wrap things up. So 6 whole weeks talking about trauma. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. I know this is definitely something that I've struggled with to talk about the first when I first considered doing this talk. Is again, I've kind of felt a bit of an imposter syndrome, like who am I to talk about trauma? Because I'm really blessed to have had a very agreeable childhood growing up. And so, but the important thing, what I came to realize is that, we all have this shared humanity, right? We all have experiences that have given us struggle, that have given us hardship at some point. And so if not me, then who? And if not now, then when, right? We just got to stand up and talk and make sure that it's okay to share our struggles and our challenges, and make mental health an acceptable part of our society, our culture. As long as you're keeping it buried and kind of under the radar, then it's never going to get addressed. And individuals that are suffering, that have experienced trauma in some way, shape, or form in their life, are never going to feel comfortable asking for the support and care that they need to heal and to ultimately move on and manage their life in a more productive way. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys got value out of this. As always, take care. Have a wonderful week. We'll be back here next week with a new series. And normally I kind of tease what's coming up next, but in this particular point with Christmas coming up, I don't actually have that topic decided yet. So you have to stay tuned. Mystery topic next week. I got 7 days to figure it out. So check back in here next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. We're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live. And we'll be here again with a wonderful series, share some more knowledge with you guys. So thank you very much.